Next to CNN's Fareed Zakaria, host of Fareed Zakaria, GPS, and retired NATO Supreme Allied Commander General Wesley Clark. General Clark, what's your reaction to these news strikes?
Well, I'm glad that we followed up. I think we are still doing BDA. We've got to do a better job of targeting. And the way you do it is you strike, you put the eyes and ears back on the area, you watch the reaction, you look at it carefully, and you build your target packages. But in every case, I would hope that we would try to achieve escalation dominance over the Houthis. If they fire one missile, we take out 3 targets. If they fire 3 missiles, we take out 6 targets. In other words, we try to stay away from a tit for tat. And ultimately, if we can't take out the assets they're using to strike these ships, then we've got to go to find assets they value more highly.
Fareed, what did these strikes, both last night and this latest round, what do you think it means for the prospects of a wider conflict in the region?
Oh, it definitely increases the prospects, and it has always been true that this is a conflict that is poised to turn into something larger. And the reason is Iran has many allies, and most of its allies are like the Houthis. These are proxy fighters, Hezbollah, the Houthis, Hamas, of course. And what the Houthis have done is they have found a way to inflict a cost on, business as usual. So the United States has to respond, and it has to try to achieve escalation dominance, as Wes Clark was saying, but it has to also try not to let this spread out of control. And that's a very delicate balance. And it's trying to reestablish deterrence while at the same time not itself produce a widening of the war. I'm not sure there's a lot of danger here because the United States could get drawn into precisely the thing that Washington was telling Saudi Arabia to be careful of, which is if you drag yourself into a Yemeni civil war, siding with one side, attacking the Houthis, that could go on for a long time. So there's that danger. On the other hand, you've got to make sure that the shipping can go through the Persian Gulf. This is the lifeline of much of the world. This is where oil flows to lots of places all over the world.
And Fareed, assuming the Houthis are rational actors, what's in this for them? Obviously they are saying this is about the Israel's war against Hamas, or what's going on in Gaza. Is it simply that? Are they doing the bidding of Iran? Why would they be doing this?
Yeah, I think you have to view this in a broader strategic context, which is Iran has been trying to essentially assert that the American-led Middle Eastern order is not viable, that it contains Iran, it presses Iran. Iran has been sort of put into a box. It's under sanctions. So the Iranians have been trying. President Raisi, in an interview with me, said, you will not be able to do this. We have ways of opposing the American-led Middle Eastern order. And the whole idea that Saudi Arabia and Israel were going to make a happy peace, that is what Iran is trying to prevent. It is helping Hamas, it is helping Hezbollah, it is helping the Houthis. So in that sense, the Houthis are part of this larger strategy. I don't think they, in a particular sense, gain something. It's a very good question, Anderson, because it's difficult to see what the Houthis are gaining from this. But if you think of it as the Houthis, the Hezbollah, Assad, Iran, this larger group of forces in the Middle East that are all opposed to an American-led strategic stability in the Middle East. That's the big contest.
So, General Clark, given what Fareed just said about the larger context of this, there were reports the Houthis fired a ballistic missile at a ship today, but missed. Under this scenario, do you expect more of that, more attempts at retaliation, staying in this, trying to keep this game going?
Well, I expect them to continue to do this because Iran wants them to do it. As Fareed said, this is Iran's quest for regional hegemony. And this is why you can't pay too much attention to what you hear from the Arab street. they're manipulated by various social media. But the leaders in Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Kuwait, Qatar, they know what the stakes are. They want America there. Even in Iraq, they want us there. So they're looking at the United States for strength and for leadership. So when we strike back, they like it, no matter what the protests say about it and all that. And also no matter, what we say about not wanting to escalate, they want escalation. Our friends in the region, they want to see a strong America. Now, they want to see us effective. So we have to really, we're engaged with military force. We better really do that targeting well. And we better not try to tit for tat it. So we've got to try to cap this off. The alternative is we go closer to the source. Iran's playing a very cagey game. They do not want the United States or Israel to strike their nuclear facilities. They may be very close to a nuclear weapon. They're asking themselves, should they get it? Should they declare it? Should they test it? What will be the consequences? They're very sly and clever dancers around this nuclear issue. And in the meantime, they're trying to discredit the United States. And we're looking at it and saying, can we stop this without going to the source, Iran?
Well, Fareed, the role of Saudi Arabia in all this is fascinating. I mean, their response, to this latest round, but also their war against the Houthis. I mean, they bombed extensively, a lot of civilian casualties, fatalities. They came under a lot of criticism for it. What do you make of Saudi Arabia's role in all this?
You put your finger on it. The Saudis waged a multi-year, very expensive war, a lot of bombing. And what they found was that the Houthis were extraordinarily resilient, that they could bounce back, that it was very hard to destroy them completely. Eventually, the UAE, which was Saudi's allies, pulled out because essentially they thought it was an unwinnable war. So that's why I say this is a delicate balance. Wes is right. You want to achieve some kind of escalation dominance or reestablish deterrence, but you do not want to get sucked into this because all the Houthis have to do is survive. It's the classic problem of this kind of warfare. They win by not losing. We lose by not winning, and that's a dynamic where that's a tough trade-off. So establish escalation dominance, show them that they can't do this kind of reckless attacks on ships. Wes makes a very interesting point. Is there some way to convey a signal to the Iranians? I'm not sure that I would be in favor of military strikes at this point, but in some way indicate like this is crossing lines that you haven't crossed before, because otherwise this could really spill out of control.
Fareed Zakaria, General Clark, thank you. We will, of course, continue to monitor the story, bring you any developments as they come in.